everyone. This is a message for all the great colleagues at Cardinal Newman Catholic School and Newman College. Can I just say an enormous thank you for your fantastic response on Thursday to the first webinar. We're coming to talk to all students across every year group of July 6th, 7th, and then the following Monday, 13th, 14th, and then the following Thursday. And there'll be elements that are around the well-being rocks and also the management of anxiety and living positively in a negatively biased mind, as well as a focus on the science of learning and why every single one of them should build in study slots, how to build those study slots. So there's lots to come, but your reactions was fantastic, and it's brilliant to be working with you. I know you've got the poster, and I just wanted to kind of give you a few hints and tips about some of the rocks. So sleep is one that some of you have already said is an issue, and it is an issue for all of us, particularly when you get as old as me. As we get older, the area of our brain that generates deep REM sleep and NREM sleep, non-rapid eye movement sleep, is just behind our forehead, and that it becomes less efficient as we get older. So we don't generate some of the deepest slow wave sleep as we get older. So our sleep is lighter and more brittle. So what can we do to help ourselves sleep? To get ourselves 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. So the best thing to do is find out what our chronotype is. Now, you'll know your chronotype on the basis of when you're nodding off. That moment when you're nodding off, people are talking to you on the couch and you're not kind of responding. That is when we should be in bed. We should be in bed before the point of maximum sleepiness. Now, for different people, that's at different times. Some of us are larks, we fall asleep early and wake up early. Some of us are owls, we fall asleep late and wake up late. So we just need to make sure that we're spotting that moment of maximum sleepiness and getting in bed before that moment, because if we nod off in front of Netflix and wake up 3 hours later, we've already reduced another of the great forces that send us to sleep, something called sleep pressure. Now, sleep pressure is caused by the buildup of adenosine, a chemical of fatigue, which builds up all across our brain, but particularly impacts on our prefrontal cortex. So adenosine plus melatonin, which is a hormone produced by the pineal gland, linked to the day-night cycle. Together, sleep pressure and melatonin send us to sleep along the lines of wherever our chronotype puts us. So we're either larks early in the evening, owls much later in the evening, or somewhere in between, about a third of us in each of those positions. So once we've gone to sleep, staying asleep is tricky, particularly for someone my age, the visit to the loo at 2 a.m. and then not being able to go to sleep afterwards. So the best way to be able to go to sleep afterwards is to build, it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, is to use the daytime for a couple of things. First of all, to make sure we get plenty of physical exercise in the daytime, so we're actually fatiguing ourselves. That kind of seems obvious, but it's something we forget, particularly in our busy working lives. We can end up being quite sedentary. And the other thing to make sure that we try and do is build in a mindfulness habit. If we can build in 10-minute mindfulness habit, focusing on our breathing, using an app perhaps like Calm or Headspace, then when we arrive back in bed after our trip to the loo, we can then focus on our breathing. And because we've been practicing it in the daytime, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks of mindfulness practice, once we're in bed again, we can use our breathing as a kind of hypnotic metronome, just counting our breathing 1, 2, 1, 2. And because we've built that architecture during the course of the day, it's available for us in the evening. It's a very effective way of trying to get back to sleep, but it won't be an instant fix. A couple of days of meditation isn't going to cut it. You're going to need to do 4 or 5 weeks of meditation to begin to build that architecture. And that should help you get back to sleep, because that kind of late morning hours of sleep, there's a lot of REM sleep there, which is dream sleep. It's rich in dreaming, it's rich in creativity, and it's also rich in emotional processing. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a few tips on sleep, because that's one of the kind of most common ones that people struggle with. Any other tips you need about the rocks, just get in touch, and we'll update you on how it's going with the students once we start on those webinars next week. Take care, everyone. Have a good week. Look after yourselves.